All right, gang, let's dive right into it. Welcome to another edition of Webinar Wednesday. It's really great to be with you guys here today. We've made it through another 2 weeks together. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. I'm Jason there on the left, and we are always lucky to be joined by David Rockland, the digital strategist here at Brilliant Directories, and honestly, so much more. David, thanks for taking the time to join us in today's webinar.
Hey everybody, glad to be back with you for another Webinar Wednesday. Got a great tip of the week coming up, focusing a little bit on the sales side of your membership site, so hope you stick with us for that.
Awesome. And are we streaming on YouTube today, David?
We are streaming on YouTube again this week. As always, during the Q&A session, we will be taking a look at the live chat on the YouTube stream. So if you do have questions and you are over there, feel free to type them in. We'll try to address them during the Q&A session. But if you want to have your microphone unmuted, then be sure to join us in the following webinars through GoToWebinar. We have the registration link pinned to the top of the live chat over there on YouTube.
And I always like to mention, if you're not already part of our Facebook group, it's a great way to keep the conversations going in between Webinar Wednesdays. You can head on over to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. You could do that right now. I myself am pretty active in there, and there are just really constructive conversations from fellow membership website owners building their directories together. A great way to ask how-to questions, see what other people have done, and get some tips and know-how from people who have been doing this for quite some time. So I do look forward to seeing you guys in there. You can go to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. And for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. I do see a good handful of new names and faces out there. Webinar Wednesday was created as a way for us to not just share new features that are built into the platform, but how you can utilize those features to help grow your community a bit faster. Some topics that we cover, last week's tip of the week actually did talk about how to increase traffic and converting visitors into members. One of my favorites is how to improve your website's navigation. So if you have questions on these topics or anything about your Brilliant Directories websites, please save them, and we will try to get to as many questions as we can in today's webinar. All right, and we do have quite a few lab updates since the webinar 2 weeks ago. I'll try to blaze through this list for us here, and we'll go ahead and start at the top. There is a new design setting. It's called Click-Enlarge Post Images. And what this allows you to do is if you have a blog post, you can certainly add a feature image, but it's quite often that you'll add additional images into the actual body or content of a post, such as an event or a blog article. With this design setting that's available for everyone, you can choose to turn it on. If the image is larger than the space that it's in, visitors will be able to click that image and enlarge it on their screen. It's really great for infographics or other images that might have some text into them and that look a little small. Let me show you an example of how this works and where it is in your design settings. So I think let me show you first how it works when it's enabled. So here's just a little article I created on a demo site here, called it Food Article. So this is the feature image here. And then in the article, we've sprinkled some additional images. So prior, or if this feature or design setting is disabled, clicking on these images doesn't do anything. However, when you do enable this, it will enlarge the image. Not necessarily enlarge it, but it'll pop it out, and whatever the normal size is of that image, it will be presented in this way. So we can see here that we can click on the images, and again, you can see how this could be helpful if you have infographics or images that really do require some type of a close-up. And then you can also slide the images once the pop-up is there. I think it's really good for mobile too. Just again, it gives people a closer look at those images. And where you can enable that is under Settings, Design Settings. And this will be under the additional settings here, Content Boxes and Backgrounds. And it's right here in the third row, Click-Enlarge Post Images. By default for everyone, it's turned off. It's up to you to turn it on. And you can set that to yes or no. I don't see any harm in setting it to yes. It just seems a little more interactive. So if you want to use that, you can certainly set that to yes. And for your posts, such as blog articles and things like that, additional images in the content or body of the area will be clickable and they will enlarge. All right, this next one is we do have some efforts coming into place to improve Google page speed scores and optimize some of those speed test tools, the scores that BD sites receive. One thing that's now available for everyone, if you're using the Facebook Messenger chat add-on that allows you to add the Facebook chat tool onto your website, there is an option to only have this activated on your desktop and have it disabled on mobile devices. A couple benefits for disabling it on mobile if you wanted to. One is it does take up quite a bit of real estate, so it is covering a lot of content when you do see that Facebook chat pop up on mobile. So just depending on your business model and the type of site you have, it may be more of a nuisance than a benefit to have that display on mobile. The second thing is, all these extra small tools, they do slow down slightly page load times. So disabling it, especially on mobile where data transfer might be a bit slower, can help with your mobile page speed scores. So let me show you where that is. And this is only if you're using the Facebook Messenger chat add-on. Let me first show you which add-on that is, and then where the setting is to disable it on mobile if you choose to. So here it is. We call it Facebook Website Chat. And you can see here from the image, it puts this little bubble here with the chat now. They're chatting with your Facebook page, essentially. And this video here, for example, explains how to set it up, both on the Facebook side and the BD side. But when it is set up in your general settings is where you would set it up on your BD site under the Integrations tab. And if you scroll down, you'll find the Facebook Messenger tool here. So you do need to connect your Facebook page. And again, that video explains some instructions. But here under Enable Facebook Chat, if you are using it, there is an option to enable it always. So that'll be desktop and mobile, or enable it only on desktops, which I would recommend. But again, if you're getting a lot of communications from mobile users, you might want to keep it in that case. Or you can choose to do the opposite, enable it only on mobile devices, or disable it if you're not manning your chat station on Facebook and you don't want to respond to people at this time. So that is where the setting is, and you could set it to enable only on desktops. Okay, in an effort to put more power in your control, there is a new option to have custom content in the top of the homepage in the Hero section. Generally, this is reserved for a search module, or we have the clickable maps and things like that. Now it's a little bit easier to add custom content there, and I'll show you how if you wanted to just have your own custom content there. In the homepage hero section. So first, let's see what we're talking about here. We're effectively talking about the call to action here. So we have a main title, a subtitle, and then we've selected, in this case, this search module to be on the homepage. But if you just want to have custom content, it's now certainly possible, and I will show you how we can do that. So this will be under Design Settings. And we'll do something cool with this, actually. Let's go to Homepage. So this is under the search box or call to action. And it's the first option here. We have quite a few options as to have what we want for the call to action. And this is called Custom Content Text Editor. So I'll go ahead and click that. And when you select that, you'll have this blue button that says Toggle Text Editor. And there we go. We have a text editor here. What's really cool is it can support widget shortcodes. So maybe you're doing, if you're a designer or developer, you could do something totally custom in a widget and then just have that HTML render here. If you're a beginner, you want to do something a bit simpler. Let's put a video here as an example. I think that would be pretty cool. And let's just do a table with two columns here. And we'll say, learn about our website. And we'll do a couple things here. We'll make this nice and large. We'll do a 44. And we'll center it. And we'll give the cell a white background here, so the text contrasts nicely. And let's put a video on this side here. Let's go to YouTube. Let's grab the first video they suggest for us. There we go, one of my favorite sets here for music. And we can just embed a video here, click insert video. So maybe this is a welcome video you have for people. And there it is, and I'm going to cross my fingers. This is new, and I want to see how it works here. Okay, great. So that's saved. So this is what we had before, and let's duplicate this and see what the home page is now. Okay, great. So it's a little smushed here. That's based on the width, but we can see we have a message here. We have the video. Let's widen this up a bit. Under the hero title text, you can actually choose how wide you want the text area width. Let's just go 100% in this case. And that should open it up quite a bit. There we go. So again, I'm just doing something super simple here. Let's do one more thing, just to do one more thing. So it says learn about our website. Let's actually put a button here. Click to join now. All right, so we'll do this, and we'll turn it into a link. It'll go to our join page. Insert. And let's give it the danger button color, and also let's make it full width. Okay, let's save that. Again, I'm just trying to get the creative juices flowing on kind of what you could do here, just doing some basic stuff. So there it goes. It doesn't look like it did the full width thing. You can look into that, but we can see here, we have our main titles, and we have two things here. Video, I think, is the coolest thing. You could put forms here. You could put custom widgets. So that's now available. And I think what we're going to do in a phase 2 is we all love those draggable blocks, the pre-made elements that we created on the web page builder. I think there's plenty of space here to have this editor here, and also some of those pre-made elements, so you can drag them in here for some quicker editing and adding elements inside this text editor. So we'll definitely look at doing that in a phase 2. Okay, so just to recap, that's going to be in your design settings, homepage, search box, call to action, and you can choose the custom content text editor. All right, this one I think is in the direction for us to be game changers with how we're segmenting and creating lists, something that I've personally wanted to have pushed on the platform, and it's finally here, and we're just going to continue to build off of this. The ability to create smart lists based on form inquiries that come into your site. So if you have a landing page form or an application form or a survey form, they all go into the forms inbox area. Those inquiries go into the forms inbox area of your admin. And you were always able to export that with the export add-on. However, now everyone can create smart lists so you can send newsletters to people who filled out those forms. Up until now, you could just receive it. You can't really respond back to them as groups of people in bulk, but now you can. So let me show you how that looks and works. So this will be under your forms inbox. The most common form we all have is the contact us form, but you might be creating more custom forms on your site. So what you have here are list actions. And here we can see create smart list from the results. The only caveat here is you do need to filter by at least one of your landing page or lead capture forms that you have here. So let's do, for example, suggest a business. This is something we did in a previous webinar. So we have two people who have filled out the suggest a business form on our site. You could do additional filters like date range or keyword. Later, we're going to add another filter here where you can filter inquiries from everyone, or from members, or from non-members. So if you have a form, you can then segment if a member or a non-member has filled out that form. So what we can do now that we've filtered at least one form, suggest a business, is go to list actions and create smart lists. And we're going to call this suggest a business submitters, we'll call them, people who have submitted the suggest a business form. Save that. All right, and let's go take a look at our smart list. So this is under members, smart lists. And I can filter here. So suggest a business submitter. So we have two people in here. Let's say it was 2,000 or 200. That's great. Let's say I wanted to email all of them. Before, there wasn't a method or a way to do that. Now we can go to send a newsletter in the email section. And what we can do is, you could fill out like what the newsletter nickname is, what template to send, things like that. But if we scroll down to Smart Lists, we can see here, suggest a business submitters. There's 2 people in there. I can click that and send a newsletter to those people. What I like is you can always choose this advanced option, email even if recipient received this specific email template. So you choose the email template that you want to send to them. This helps prevent duplicate sending the same person multiple emails over and over again. So checking this will send it to them again, but by default it's unchecked just to prevent sending the same email to people who may have already received it. But there are cases where you do want to send the same email multiple times to people. So Smart List from Form Inquiries. And I'll just fast forward down here to the Coming Soon section. We also are going to soon release Smart List and export functionality for member reviews and the member leads that your members receive. So you'll be able to export the member reviews, export the leads, and also create Smart Lists from your member reviews and the member leads that your website receives. So that's really cool there. All right, this next one here, more of a quality of life for your members, actually. There's now an additional Save Changes button when your members are saving their photo album images and uploads. Let me show you where that is. Okay, so I'm logged in here as a member, and in this case, I created a photo album called Food Images. Theme of today is food. And we can see that there are 4 images in here. So this is what's new, is the photo display order link. There's also a tab here, so when your members upload 20 images, yeah, the link was here, but it was kind of out of sight. So seeing it here might encourage them to use that and organize their photos in the order they want them. And also the Save Changes button is now up here as well. Prior to this, it was stuck all the way here at the bottom. So the bottom is fine, but now they can have it here at the top, which is kind of helpful if they have a lot of images, more than 5 images. You might not know to scroll all the way down to the saved changes. So they'll see it right there at the top. They can rotate, they can change titles, and click this nifty button right here. A lot easier. And the last one for today for new features, we've actually just reorganized some of the menu links in the admin area. Let me show you where those are. We've created a new section under My Content. It's called Interactions. Before this was called Leads, and the only thing in here were member leads. So it wasn't really an effective use of space. What we've done is we've actually compiled the existing links that were in other areas. Member reviews used to be under My Members. Post comments was under My Content, and private chats with the private chats was actually here under when it was called Member Leads, which wasn't labeled very well. So interactions are basically communications between your website visitors to your members, or sometimes member to member in the case of private chats. And now you can see everything here. Nothing's changed besides this main title is now called Interactions, and we've moved all these items into this section. What's really cool is when you close this, there is a number there. We can see this says number 2. These are pending leads, or if there's pending reviews to moderate or pending comments to moderate, it will show a total number here. And then when you hover over, you'll see the individual number of things to do if you have pending items here as the website admin. So that's kind of cool as well. All right, some things coming soon. As I mentioned, smart lists and exports for member reviews and leads. Definitely excited about that. A request that was from Colette here a few webinars ago, the ability to, in the search results, the view you'd like, if you'd like to start in grid view or map view. Right now, it's pinned to the design setting and is applied to all your post types, but you can choose, maybe you want your events to start in grid view on the search results page and your blog articles to start in list view or map view, whatever it might be. You'll be able to select that on a per post type basis. We are being aggressive with some updates for improving Google Pagespeed scores. I'm personally overseeing some of those. Those will be coming out probably in the next month. We just have to be a little bit careful to make sure that we're doing things correctly. But we do anticipate some really favorable scores and also load times that should improve everyone's Google page speeds across the board. We're also working to improve the workflow for matching leads with members, mentioned this before, and also slightly better UI for newsletters and the statistics after a newsletter is sent. I do see that with the creation of the smart lists and the ability to create more smart lists, more and more people will be using the newsletter functionality. So we're definitely going to make an investment to improve the UI of that. Along with that, just ongoing updates to make things more awesome, both on the front end of your BD websites and in the admin area. Thank you guys so much for your suggestions the last few weeks. It's definitely giving us a direction of things we should focus and improve on. All right, that was a mouthful. Great updates, though, from the BD team, so round of applause for them. And we have an awesome tip of the week. David, you've done a great job putting these slides together. This is something we've been talking about for a few weeks and some topics that come up in the Facebook group. So we thought it would be an appropriate tip of the week. If it's okay, David, may I pass it over to you and we can talk about how to respond to common sign-up objections with killer rebuttals.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great topic that hopefully will come in handy for a lot of you with your own membership websites. Sometimes we might get members signing up on their own, and that bodes well for us. It shows us that we're doing well in terms of communication on our website. But other times there might be some prospective members who might need some hand-holding to get across the finish line. So first, let's talk about what objection handling is. And I think it's important to distinguish between objections and just casual brush off. So an objection we can think of as kind of being synonymous with a concern. So an example might be a prospective member says to you that your website, your community, it seems like it would be useful to them, but they're still just unsure about this reason or that reason. And so we can address that concern and try to help move them across the finish line and sign up for a membership. A brush off would be when somebody says, I'm just not interested, don't want to talk to you, this isn't for me, no thanks. Those people we probably don't want to spend too much time on. If they already know it's not for them, then we're really trying to win an uphill battle with them if we're trying to get them to sign up. Whereas people who think that our offering could be beneficial to them, but just, there's some obstacles in the way, it's those people that we really want to spend our time on, address their concerns, and help them realize why our membership community will benefit them. So our primary goal here is to alleviate our prospects' concerns in order to facilitate them becoming a member and signing up on our website. It's probably relatively obvious why objection handling is important, but it's important to make note of and to recognize that the longer a prospect holds an opinion, the more that opinion solidifies and the stronger it will become. And that means it'll be even more difficult for us to try to change their opinion. So if they do have some opinion prior to signing up, we want to welcome those objections, those concerns, and view those as opportunities for us to address those concerns, alleviate any concerns that they might have, and help make that transition into a member a lot easier. So before we move into some of the more technical strategies that we'll talk about in the next couple slides, I thought it would be useful to go over some of the simpler kind of mental notes to keep in mind when we're dealing with objections from these prospective members. So the first one is just to simply keep cool. They're not totally blowing us off. They're just voicing their concerns, and we want to welcome that and make sure that we're answering any questions that they have. It's not over yet. We still have time to help them become a member. We also want to stay confident, and we don't want to get emotional, angry, or impatient. We always want to maintain a positive attitude and really listen to what the prospect's concerns are. It's important to understand specifically what they're saying, what their concerns are. That way we have a better opportunity at specifically addressing their concerns and helping them realize why our offering might actually benefit them. And so with that, we always want to stand behind our offering, and it's important to really understand what it is we're offering, why our membership community can benefit all these prospective members. And even if those reasons aren't apparent to the prospects, if we can stand behind our offering and really understand it, then we can help convey that messaging to them. And lastly, pretty basic, but we do want to thank them for mentioning their concerns, for voicing their opinion, and giving us an opportunity to address them.
I'm glad you mentioned that, David. We actually hear that all the time. And let me tell you why that's not an issue. Is basically a way to thank them for mentioning their concerns.
Absolutely. And so getting into a little bit more technical element, this basically takes everything from the last slide and just breaks it down even more, makes it a little bit more technical. So this is the LAER method. It was developed by Carew International, which is kind of a corporate sales training firm. But the primary thing we want to keep in mind during all of this is that these objections or concerns that are being brought to our attention are opportunities for us to help these prospective members and to establish a trustworthy relationship with them. We've talked about relationships a lot in previous webinars and how important they are in the longevity of maintaining members in our community. So if we're able to get a prospect on the phone initially, answer their questions, show them that there's real people behind the website and the community managing it, then that really puts us on a great footing to start their journey within our community. So the LAER method it's basically just 4 steps: listen, acknowledge, explore, and respond. So with listen, it's important to distinguish between listening and hearing what the prospect is saying. When we're listening to the prospect, it shows that we care about what they have to say and that we really do understand whatever concerns they're voicing to us are. And then that leads into acknowledgement, where a sincere acknowledgement to the prospect and their concerns shows them that they are being heard, that they're being listened to, and that we understand why their concerns are reasonable. And going one step further into explore, we can ask them some follow-up questions regarding the concerns that they're voicing in order to really flush out all the concerns that they're voicing and make sure that we truly do understand what they're telling us. And so we can give them a better rebuttal or a better response to help convince them to sign up to our website. And so that's where respond comes in, is we can really only accurately respond to the prospect when we have a complete understanding of their concerns. So we can respond with a recommendation, an alternative, a solution, whatever it may be that addresses their concerns so that we can push them across the finish line and get them to sign up on our website.
And actually stepping back and looking at this and listening to you explain this a bit, David, this is actually great relationship advice for your spouse or your partner when there's a conflict or some resistance. These 4 steps actually make perfect sense. So I would make note of this not only for in your business, but also in your personal life and relationships when trying to be an effective communicator and when working with someone in any case that you might have resistance with.
That's so true. Whether it's a professional relationship or a personal one, really they all require similar ingredients to maintain that strong relationship.
It's almost like getting back to basics with these 4 steps here. So good to keep in mind. Thanks for sharing this specific slide.
Absolutely. And so to sum up, we thought we'd cover some common objections specifically for membership websites and communities. So Brilliant Directories, we've been around for over 10 years, and we've heard questions from a lot of our users and also from a lot of members who are looking to sign up onto membership sites and some of the concerns that they have. And there's a lot of similarities regardless of whatever target industry or target demographic you're going after are. So the first one, and the primary one, is that the offering is just too expensive. Why should I pay for this membership? So this is where really understanding your offering comes in handy. You don't want to focus on the price because that makes the conversation strictly transactional. We want to explain and really define what value our offering, our membership, is bringing to the prospective member, what return on their investment they're going to get. We can make some comparisons if there are other similar websites out there. We can explain what they're missing out on. I think an important point with this one is not to make it so much about the price and make it more emotional. Try to convince them other ways why joining our website would be worthwhile. And then the second one, I'm already part of another website. I don't need to have a membership on your website. The other one's just working out fine. This is another similar common objection. What we want to do when we hear this is to explain what sets us apart from the other websites, what makes us unique. And this is important to take in when you're designing, you're building out your membership offering. You don't want to necessarily offer exactly the same thing your competitors are offering, because then if your competitors have been around longer, maybe prices are similar, there might be something else that would push prospects over to the competitors. But if we can offer something different and we understand what it is our prospective members or target audience needs, then we can address those concerns better, maybe also at a lower price, whatever you can throw in there. We want to find ways to make us distinct from our competitors and to make us stand out.
There truly should be something that does set you apart from competitors or similar websites or communities. It can simply be your mission and what you stand for. Maybe feature-wise, everything is the same, but what your ultimate goal or mission of your community is, that's an easy way to differentiate yourself and something people can get behind. We mentioned that in number 4 here, but we should have listed that in number 2 here as well, is what your mission and what you stand for and what some of your bigger goals are for the community and how you're looking to change something in the industry, something in the world, something in your local region or city. So we'll talk about it later, but you're going to want to actually do role playing with your friends and family and have responses to all of these points here.
So going into number 3, I don't understand how you can help me. This is similar to number 2. We want to make sure that we understand how our membership offering can benefit these prospects. We don't want to just rattle through the features that we provide them. Again, it's important to make an emotional connection here. Just rattling through the features and the prices, that doesn't do as good of a job at convincing somebody to sign up as making an emotional appeal to them. So figuring out what it is they're after, what their goals are, and how we can help them achieve those goals would be the best way to address an objection like this. Another one is sometimes if somebody comes to your website and it just looks too new, or maybe you don't have too much content or not that many members yet, it's reasonable why that might hold somebody back from signing up. So what we want to do is make sure that we have a clear mission that people can get behind and make it a special opportunity for early birds and founding members. Maybe that means offering free memberships initially and closing it, once we get, the first 100 members signed up, or the first 50 members get a unique badge to display on their profile, or anything that makes the offering enticing enough so it might counteract whatever hesitation they might have with regards to the website looking a little new or not being as established as maybe some other websites might be. And then lastly, what will happen after I sign up? This is obviously a big concern, especially if you don't have any free offerings. If somebody's going to be paying to sign up, they want to know exactly what's going to happen once they give you their credit card information. A great way to address this one is just eliminate the mystery. You can either explain over the phone or in an email what will happen once somebody signs up. Maybe you want to provide them screenshots with a sample membership dashboard. Explain to them what they can do in their account once they sign up. Or a great alternative, which has been discussed a lot in previous webinars, and I know a lot of membership website owners have done, is to make a simple screen recording, log into a sample member account on your website, and walk them through everything that they can do in their account once they're logged in and signed up.
And I think number 5 here, David, is one that people will not verbally say, but they'll keep it in their heads. So it's important to make sure that it's clear on your website or whatever media or materials you're using to explain how the website works, to also include specifically what happens after they join. What can they expect? You'll get a welcome email. We'll provide you instructions on how to log into your account, like really basic stuff, but then you'll gain access to, seeing the other members in our community, whatever it might be, or gaining access to X, Y, and Z. You can start posting articles or whatever you're going to allow them to publish. So just explaining the simple things of what happens after sign up, again, that eliminates mystery. Mystery creates doubt. Doubt creates not signing up. So we want to eliminate doubts and fears and mystery as much as possible.
Yeah, the other thing with that, kind of pulling the curtain back before they sign up, is that, again, that helps build trust and start the relationship off on a good footing.
And like David said, if you address these up front, it can encourage more signups, and it may eliminate the need to actually talk to someone. Most of us aren't necessarily talking to everyone who visits our website, but those are probably the majority of the people that we want to capture and convert to signups. So that is why, and let me see if I can find an example here. Yeah, so basically on your join page, and we do have a pre-made element that you can drag into the text editor, you can add a frequently asked questions section to your membership plan page. And you don't want this to be too long. Anywhere from 4 to 8 questions might be reasonable. But the frequently asked questions should pose the questions in ways that cover some of these topics here. Is it too expensive? So you should say, like, what you get after paying and signing up. What do I get with my plan? What sets your website apart? And then, you should have all these things explained, and why not put them on the actual page where people may have frequently asked questions, so you can address those objections and have rebuttals to them right here on the page. That's all I have to add about this, David. Is there any final notes you wanted to mention?
No, I think it just ties into a lot of the previous tips of the week we discussed, and how to better define your audience, speaking with your current members as well as prospective members to figure out what it is specifically that they're looking for and how we can better address that.
So let's do this. Let's pass it over. We have some time left over here. If you have questions or you just want to make a comment, please feel free to use the raise your hand feature. We'll call on a few people here, and we'll take a question or two. All right, we've got a good friend, Franco. How you doing, Franco?
Hi, Jason. I'm well. How are you?
Good, good. How'd you like today's webinar?
I think it was brilliant, as always.
Okay, glad to hear that. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions for us today?
Yes, I do. I think if you go to finance, go to transaction history if you don't mind,
okay,
on a finance page. Okay. Now, you see there's a lot of drop-down menus, for example, payments received and things like that.
Yes.
Okay, I've got a question. If a sales rep signs up a client, how can I make a drop-down list with all the sales reps' names to say, okay, show me all the sales that was done by John, or show me all the sales that was done by Peter, or whatever?
Actually, you bring up a good point here. Thank you. There is an advanced setting, and you can enable it. Let me just search for sales. Enable sales rep fields in the edit member form. Okay, so let me just show you a couple things here. So let me just enable this first. Okay, and then I'll save my changes. So, okay, this is the search members page here. Okay, not the transaction history. Search members page.
Oh, okay.
So
that was the one that I was looking for.
Yeah, let me enable this though, and save the changes. Let me show you what happens. A couple things happen. Okay. First, let me refresh this page now. We should have an extra field here. Okay, search sales rep name or ID number, whatever you've going to associate this member with. So under the quick edit now, and I'll show you a couple things you can do. Under quick edit, there should be a sales rep field. Here it is, sales representative right there at the top. However, you bring up a good point. This is not available to search in the transaction history. We should make it available to search on the transaction history page. And whether you're giving your sales reps, applying it based on their name or their ID number that you create or whatever it is, that would be helpful to search that here because it is connected to sales. So I'm gonna put a note here if it's okay. And I'm gonna share one more thing with you, Franco. We actually did do a webinar on how to track sales reps sales, and so I'm going to share that with you here as well. How to track revenue from sales reps. Yeah, this was a tip of the week from webinar 50, so it's from a while ago. So thank you very much for your question there and the suggestion. Let's see, we got a couple more hands up here. Our good friend Brenda. How are you, Brenda?
Hi, Jason.
Hey, how's everything going there?
It's going well, thank you. How's things in California?
We're staying busy here, and things are good. Working from home is tough with the little one, but we do our best. So what questions do you have for us today?
I saw your post on Facebook, and I went and took a look at my admin panel, and then I saw some leads in there that I did not notice before.
Okay.
I never even knew they were there, and I kind of clicked on some of them, but I really wasn't sure what to do with them.
So, couple things. The leads are, generally speaking, if a website visitor comes to a member's profile page and fills out the Contact Me form, I'll show you a quick example here. It is someone who wants to, send a message here. Oh, it says I'm logged in as myself, can't send messages to your own account. But it's people who send messages to your members. Now, if it's part of your business model, you may choose to sell those as what we call member leads to your members. Sometimes you want to sell a lead to multiple members if the person has included their location, like their city, and that they're looking for a top or sub-level category, like a plumber or something like that. You might have other members who might be a good fit, and you could sell that as a lead to those members. So a couple things is, if they're dated leads, if they're quite old, it might not be a relevant match anymore for the member. If you wanted to go the extra mile, you could call the lead if they left their phone number and see if they still want to be matched with a member. Also, just read the lead, see if they put like what they're looking for, see if it's erroneous or if it's a valid request. I'll probably delete the erroneous ones that people were just playing around and filling out the form because it was there on the site. And let me also send you some information on how leads work. I think we haven't talked about leads for a while, so that might be another tip of the week for the future, David, is kind of just an overview of how the leads work and what you can do with them. So let's look at matching leads. This is just our support center, Brenda. So I just want to send you something, how to match a lead. Let me just send this. There, you could just continue. There's a whole manage leads section here. I'll actually share that. It just talks about leads in general. It's pretty heavy on the documentation, but if you just want to skim through it, you might find some useful information there.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much, Jason.
You're welcome, and always thank you for joining. All right. I don't see any more hands up. I think that was a fantastic webinar. Thank you, David, for putting the tip of the week together. The next webinar will be in 2 weeks. And if you haven't already done so, please take a moment to join our Facebook group. You can go to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. And on behalf of myself, David, and the entire Brilliant Directories family, thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been great. See you in 2 weeks. Have a great day and a brilliant week. Mask up and take care. Bye-bye.